to my couch and Wrestle Club history. This series is committed to diving into the history of Idaho's one and only professional wrestling company and the history of its wrestlers. Before we get into our wrestlers, though, we do have a couple more things to cover. So, grab your cocoa and get cozy, because today we're talking about the Heavyweight Championship. This still isn't cocoa. Wrestle Club's heavyweight belt was introduced in early May of 2016. On May 28th of 2016 at Anime Oasis, we had a fatal four-way elimination match that was no DQ and no countout between Marcus the King Anderson, Brad Zane, Jack Helter, and Sean Skelter to crown the inaugural heavyweight champion. The first elimination of the night was a team-up on Brad Zane. We saw Skelter hit his spear before Helter hit a jumping leg drop, and finally Marcus Anderson declaring "Long live the King" and hitting his finisher on Brad Zane, after which they all doggy piled on top of him to get the pin. After that, we saw Marcus the King Anderson stand alone in the ring a little bit later on in the match. Victor Grimm came out supposedly to help him. However, he did hit his finisher on the King, which later became known as the Widowmaker, leaving him in the ring completely vulnerable, and Helter Skelter did take advantage of that, putting him in a double submission with a figure four on the legs and a head scissors on top, forcing him to tap out, being the second elimination of the night. Finally, we were down to Jack Helter and Sean Skelter, who together are Helter Skelter, and being that they are very good friends and a tag team, they were really excited about being down and the final two. However, during their altercation, the ref did get knocked out by an accidental slap from Helter, leaving him unconscious for the remainder of the match. Sean hit his torture rack slam on Jack and went for the pin. However, the ref was unavailable, so Lost Soul Garabai ran in and grabbed a ref shirt in order that the match could be completed, climbed in the ring. However, unfortunately for Skelter, Jack did kick out at 2 once the official count had started. Skelter was very frustrated at this and started to argue with the Lost Soul, who was the ref. Jack Helter did take advantage of this and pulled a roll-up pin for the win and the first ever heavyweight championship. However, on January 28th of 2017 at Resolution, Jack Helter's 246-day title reign did come to an end in a match against Marcus the King Anderson, where the King was able to get his revenge against Helter. At the end of the match, we saw Helter miss his leg drop and land on his butt directly in the center of the ring. King then took advantage of this and hit his finisher on Jack Helter for a 2.5 count kick out, Jack just barely missing that 3 count. The King was understandably frustrated and climbed up to the mid-rope and dropped an elbow on Jack Helter, sealing the deal and beginning the 364-day title reign of the King. The King's reign, however, did come to an end on January 27th of 2018 at the following Resolution event from the one that he won at. We saw a triple threat elimination match between Marcus the King Anderson, the Lost Soul Garabai, and the Sun God Tanatu. The very first elimination was, understandably speaking, a team-up on the Sun God, an absolute mountain of a man. We saw a double front slam, followed by a senton from the King and a serpent splash from the Lost Soul, and finally a double pin in order to keep Tanatu down and therefore eliminate him from the match. However, in an unfortunate repeat of history, the Lost Soul had the King on his shoulders and was spinning him around when he accidentally ran the King's feet into the referee and rendered him unconscious. While the referee was unconscious, the Lost Soul hit a flatline and pinned Marcus Anderson. However, the ref was unable to complete his duties. Therefore, our owner, Patrick Holloway, ran in and grabbed a shirt in order to fill in for the referee. However, unfortunately, once the official count had began, it was only a 2 count before Marcus Anderson kicked out. The match continued for a little bit before the King, frustrated at a 2 count from Patrick Holloway, hit Holloway and knocked him unconscious as well. At the time, Marcus Anderson was tag teaming with the Outlaw Rusty Livings, and so we see in this moment the Outlaw run in and hit a jailbreak on the Lost Soul, giving Marcus Anderson an opportunity to pin him and retain his title. However, once again, there was no referee in the ring. So, Royal Inc. ran off behind stage to go get a new ref. However, the only ref to be found was the original ref of this match, who had already taken a beating and was not fully cohesive to what was going on. When he climbed into the ring, once again, a 2 count once the official count had started. At the final end of the match, we saw Marcus Anderson apply a head squeeze to the Lost Soul and guide him to the corner and up to the mid-rope. He goes to do his finish from the mid-rope. However, Garabai is, fortunately, able to reverse it into a flatline from the mid-rope, and thus decrowning the King and crowning Garabai the newest heavyweight champion. Soon after winning the belt, the Lost Soul Garabai actually applied a pink and black snakeskin to the heavyweight championship, altering it, being the only alteration that we have seen yet of a championship belt from a title holder. July 21st, 2018 was the beginning of some drama regarding our heavyweight championship belt, however. On day 2 of the Gem State Gaming Con, we saw a kendo stick match between Salim Abbas and the Lost Soul Garabai. At the end of this match, we see Abbas apply a very intense move to Garabai with a kendo stick underneath his chin and then hitting him on the head with a second kendo stick, after which Abbas does tie the Lost Soul's hands to the ring apron. Ref JW, being a little inexperienced at this point, did count it as a pin, unfortunately, not accounting for the fact that the Lost Soul neither could kick out as well as having his hands underneath the ropes, which should have broken the count. Unfortunately, because he did get the pin and the referee did count it as a pin, it did label Salim Abbas as the heavyweight champion. Patrick Holloway, however, was extremely upset at this method of winning, which is cheating, and says that Abbas must defend his title the following day at day 3 of the Gaming Con against Mr. Hickman in a flag match. Mr. Hickman at the time was the other half of Lost Men, the tag team with the Lost Soul Garabai. July 22nd of 2018 was that flag match, where at the end of the match we see Mr. Hickman hit an absolutely brutal F5 on Salim Abbas before climbing out of the ring and crawling over to grab his American flag and place it in the post, and therefore ending the match and crowning Mr. Hickman the newest heavyweight champion. The Lost Soul, however, understandably began immediately disputing this with Patrick Holloway, saying that it wasn't fair that he should not be the champion because he didn't lose the title in a manner that was actually any sort of fair. It was cheating on Salim Abbas's part and inexperience on the refs. By October of 2018, Patrick Holloway declared the very temporary reign of Abbas as well as the reign of Mr. Hickman as null and void, and the Lost Soul Garabai retained his title, making his official title reign 1,309 days. And thus bringing us to the present. On August 28th, 2021, at the Boise Comic Arts Festival, we saw a match between the Lost Soul Garabai and the Big Bad Wolf Alaric Knight for the heavyweight championship. At the end of the match, we saw the absolute giant of a man that is Alaric Knight climb to the mid-rope and hit our lost soul with an absolutely insane mid-rope splash to end the match and the longest title reign in Wrestle Club history, making him both the Potato Bowl champion and the heavyweight champion. As of the day that this is being recorded, Alaric Knight's current heavyweight title reign is 99 days. And that does conclude the history of our Wrestle Club Heavyweight Championship belt. If you're curious to see anything else that might happen regarding our Heavyweight Championship, make sure that you keep an eye out on our Wrestle Club Facebook page for any Wrestle Club events as well as live streams, or any Wrestle Club updates from myself and my husband, the Masked Starling, from our Starling reviews. I'm Kiki Starling, and we will see you guys next time.